We think it's an important amenity to have boat slips. Again, we've said from day one, we have no interest in being in the marina business. You know, we've been talking to Herb and Wade Eldine for a year and a half on this, and we don't want to be in fuel and servicing and storage and in and out and any of that stuff. That all gets pushed over to Herb. But we think the availability of boat slips is an important amenity to the project here. You know, I got that question asked in our focus groups, our walk-around focus groups that we had. And, you know, the question was how many? Well, you know, we don't know. We've sort of put the boat slips on the back burner while we're really concentrated on this. You know, we do have the parking all the way to the north there that's available to meet parking requirements for any boat slips. But I mentioned to the cottagers, you know, if you took our riparian footprint that we have out in the water, I mean, and we filled it with boat slips, it'd be hundreds of boat slips. I said, we have no intention of putting hundreds of boat slips in here. So if we put boat slips in, where would they be? Well, logically, where they wouldn't be is in our new open common waterfront area. We don't want to block that view. And I told the cottagers, not only for you, but for us selfishly. You got to remember, our buyers are like you. It's the same buyer. And so we don't want to, you know, upset that clear view out to Lake Makatawa either. So where would we put boat slips? We'd probably push them north and we'd bring them south.
But that, you know, that's still one of the questions that we're going to have as we go forward on this also, is what impact that's going to have on traffic. I mean, we'd ask the question about, you know, how many of those, how many of those slips and how could that be done? Essentially, you could documentum them as well. That's been done in the past. But the impact on traffic and, you know, all the other pieces of infrastructure that will come from all of that. It's just
Correct.
How many parking spots are there in that north lot there?
The preliminary drawings that we've done, and it depends on if we go 10 by 20, which the current ordinance asks for, or that's sort of an archaic requirement. Today it's 9 by 18. If we came into the township and says we'd like 9 by 18, we can put maybe 70, maybe 80 some parking spots.
Are you thinking in the range of 70 to 80 boat slips or 40?
We think that's a possibility. And we have, just in the last couple of weeks, had meetings where we say we have to revisit the boat slips. We haven't really taken a real hard look at it in the last, frankly, 8-10 months.
But that's still on the table, is what you're saying?
It is on the table, and that's what we think is part of the beauty of basically removing all vehicular traffic on Interlake Walk, because all those, I don't know if we have a count on how many parking spots the current cottagers have back here in their lots. Greg? Okay, I don't know if they've got 60-some, 70-some parking spots, if I were to take a guess, in their parking spot. All those cars that used to go along Interlake Walk and across Bay Road, gone. So now, if we have that parking up there for people who are using boat slips, the only shared traffic are the 4 or 5 cottages on the channel. And so we've almost mitigated, actually, frankly, the traffic.
There's a number of things that have been addressed that are very, very good. I mean, I could tick those off too, but the other questions we have is, this is a different style of plan than we've seen before. There's going to be some questions.
Sure, yep. Yeah. And if I can even...
Without the densities that we'd ask.
Right, yeah. And if I can clarify, and I think Jim did a good job of it, but just another swing at clarifying the condominium, legally the condominium, it's no different than if they're attached or detached condominiums. The legal envelope that everything fits into is condominiums. And so there's that master deed that's got all the enforceable rules in it. And those...
One of the big things that I heard you say before, though, that now they are going to be all platted lots. Those lots will...
That's incorrect. Yeah. They're going to be site condo lots.
I'm still hung up a little bit on those boat slips, maybe because I don't see anything on them, but is it your intent that you would sell those boat slips to the new development and the original cottagers, or would someone from another city be able to buy one? Have you thought that through at all?
We have thought of that, and we don't know if we would sell slips or we would lease slips. We think it's an amenity for, number one, buyers of our cottages. You know, are they all boaters? No. Are some of them going to be boaters? Yes. There's economies of scale with running boat slips. We've got to have a dock master. We've got to have summer help there. And so there's fixed costs that we have to cover. And so if we can add availability of boat slips to some of our cottagers around us, that helps us get to that number. We don't know if that number is 70 or if it's 80, but that's what we're trying to achieve. So if we don't have users for all those boat slips, by our buyers, by the existing 213, 216 cottagers, would we potentially make those available to someone who doesn't own a cottage, either on the Point West property or existing cottagers? Yes.
Okay.
Could you talk about the pedestrian interface a bit? You know, you showed some examples. That was a big question last time, how the people